Good
Very.
afternoon. How are you?
I'm Diego and he's Sergio.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
So, where are you now? Are you in Sweden?
Yes, I'm at my parents' apartment right now in Malmö,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just back home for a bit after a long season. So it's nice to relax a little bit finally.
But you have been busy at Valencia recently, haven't you?
Sorry?
You have been busy at Valencia recently, haven't you?
I haven't been there for a while, but in which do you mean, for the simulator with Mahindra, or?
Yes, maybe. That's around here.
Yeah, because I haven't been driving in Valencia, but I did some. We always do our preparation for Formula E in Valencia with Mahindra, because they have their base. They have one base in Barcelona and one in Valencia. But I haven't, to be honest, I haven't done anything in terms of Formula E since Marrakesh, the last race. So,
You've been training. You've been training hard, getting ready for the season ahead.
Well, I mean, I think the last season just finished, so the break is really short. And to be honest, I've just been relaxing since Macau. I haven't really been thinking too much about next year, because I just felt that I needed maybe 2 or 3 weeks to do nothing and to do other things than motorsport. So it was quite nice, to be honest. But now I start already to feel that I want to get going again.
But it's curious that you talk about Formula E simulators, because common perception among motorsport people is that maybe Formula E are slow cars, maybe see today. What would you say to the people that are this type of things about the electric single seaters?
It's something. I think you have to look at it in a completely different way. You cannot compare it, for example, with Formula One or something like that. It's very early in the era of electrical cars, and I think both on the motorsport side, but also on road cars, we see now the Tesla, for example. It's still very early, and the development rate is very fast. So I think you have to look at it in a longer perspective and see what's going to happen in 10 years and not in 2 years. So I think, considering that, we have a championship that is fully running. It's a very good championship, very good drivers, good teams, and I have to say that the racing is really fantastic if you understand what it's all about. It's probably one of the best racing categories out there. So I think having just started 3 years ago with the championship, it's already exceeded a lot of expectations, and I think in couple of years we're going to see an even better show.
Is it technically challenging to step into a Formula E car compared to DTM or Formula 3 in Macau? Or
Well, I think technically, if you compare, for example, Formula E, DTM and Formula 3, I think they're already very highly technical championships where you really need to understand about the car. You need to understand about physics and how racing cars work. Anyways, in Formula E, it's a different kind of technical understanding that you need to know, and it's also something that we never really saw before, and you really see good teams struggling to find out how to be clever in a new and different way. And I think we already seen it a bit in Formula One with the hybrid technology, and I think you can learn quite a lot from that. But it's also, when it comes to the driving, I think especially it's very different, especially in the race, the way you need to be quick, but in an efficient way in terms of the energy. And for example, in Formula 3, if you're leading a race, you know, as long as you're leading, and there's no other real strategy to that. But in Formula E, even if you're leading with 5 seconds, as I did in Marrakesh, it doesn't mean that you can relax, and every corner becomes critical for the whole race as a whole. And it's a very different one. And I think at the moment people maybe struggle to understand the technical side of it, but I really hope that we can all sort of bring the message to the audience, and so everyone can really appreciate the really good racing that it actually is.
Which has been the biggest difficulty for you this year when switching from this wide range of different cars, from single seaters to blank paint to all the sort of vehicle that you have driven in 2016, in terms of driving style, in terms of physical preparation?
Yeah, it's something that I was not really in favor. In the past of my career, I always really focused on one championship. Maybe I did, a maximum 2 or 3 different cars in 1 year, but overall I've normally been focusing on Formula 3 or Formula Renault before that. Mm-hmm. And this year was very different, and I think it was actually my manager Stefan Johansson that he advised me to try and do many things, and I think both because it's good for your driving and it's also opening a lot of doors for your career if you can show yourself good in different kinds of racing cars. And I think in the beginning it was a little bit difficult, but then quite early in the season I really got a good way of doing it, and I sort of managed to, when I drove one car, I sort of forgot that car when I jumped to the next one, and then when I jumped back to it, it felt like I was in the car yesterday. So I think it's a mix of remembering what you need to do in every car, but you also need to forget the previous car you drove, because otherwise it can become quite confusing if you try to maybe combine different driving styles on different cars. So it's a different way. It's for sure it's a bit mentally tougher, but I think in the end it's also very benefiting for a driver if you manage to do that, because I think it's not for every driver that can handle such a thing.
Not many drivers can say that they've won Macau as many times as you have, and then step into a Formula E and come back and do the other. You're everywhere.
Yeah, as I said, it was the strategy this year, and I just felt hungry on driving everything, to be honest, because I didn't particularly reach the goal that I had after winning Formula 3 last year. I wasn't happy where I was, and I wanted to show everyone what I was capable of, and I think that's exactly what I managed to do this year. And I think many people look at me differently from what they did before. Many people thought I was just a veteran in Formula 3, and that's why I won many races there. But I think this year I showed that I can jump in anywhere and be good. And I mean, even for yourself, it's good to prove that. And since I never really had the chance to do that before, and so it was a fun thing to do, and it's really a year I will always remember.
Is it harder facing the young and rising F3 stars, or going to DTM with more established drivers, or to Formula E with the former Formula 1 and, should I say, drivers with much more of a background?
I mean, in one way, it's quite cool to race against the people that you looked up to in the past. For example, Sebastian Buemi, Nick Heidfeld, Sam Bird. These are all drivers that I always looked up to when I was driving in the lower series and karting and so on. And then to, like in Marrakesh, to go there and beat those very guys in qualifying, it was for sure very it was something that really triggered me. At the same time, you have a lot of respect for them. But I think in the end, I have a theory that the new generation is probably the better one. And as we saw with like Esteban Ocon and Max Verstappen that are raced in Formula 3, I think these are the guys that you really have to look out for. And they are, I think, the best generation that motorsport had for since forever. So it's also important to respect these guys I think at this level everyone you race against in the end are very good drivers. Both young and old ones.
And who will you say that has been your toughest teammate in 2016 in all the series that you have competed on?
I think in DTM, since I have 7 teammates in DTM, I think that was for sure the toughest place to beat your teammates. If you had a day where you beat all of your teammates in DTM, like I had a couple of times, or at least in Budapest, I think that's you feel very, very proud of yourself, and it's not only me. Everyone in the team just they know if you beat everyone there, you have done an incredible job. And so I think DTM is probably the most difficult to beat your teammates.
And should I say, of all the drivers on the eras you followed racing and raced, which is the most complete driver or your idol?
You mean from my rivals?
Yeah, from your rivals.
It's hard to say one, because I raced against a lot of juniors because I was in Formula 3 for a long time. I think now when you step up in the professional categories, some guys that really are special. I think, for example, Sebastian Buemi is doing a fantastic job in Formula E. He's probably a little bit in his own league. I think also drivers like Matthias Ekström in DTM, is someone that I always really looked up to, and now he's he won the world championship in rallycross at the same time as doing DTM. So I think it's probably those 2 drivers that were really, from all the drivers that I drove against, they are probably the best.